Can one of you guys please give me a hand? This is exhausting. This is my Land Rover, and it sounds bad. I don't know, I'm sure the Raptor Coat Brigade think it sounds pretty cool. But I don't personally feel the need to hear my lack of camshaft from outer space. The exhaust is also in terrible condition generally. The rear muffler itself is fine. It still does muffler things and it doesn't have any major holes in it. The centre muffler, however, is a little missing. The Y pipe is okay and the catalytic converters are gone. Hillbilly removed, probably many years ago, for power. And overall, it's very crusty. There's leaks from the manifolds, the welds. It just needs fixing. And to do that, I'm probably going to need to jack the car up on flat ground. Which is a problem because I just planted new grass, which is already struggling, and I don't really want to tear it up with a 2-ton 4-wheel drive. Okay, I think I'm going to start by removing the entire exhaust system. And I think the studs connecting the manifold to the exhaust system are going to be the hardest part. So let's start there. I apologize for the footage. I have no idea what you guys can see. My camera is jammed against the grass, but I wanted you in on the action. Okay, wish me luck. Well, it's turning. Huh. What? Okay, what about this guy? This looks like a gnarly one. Oh. All right. I can't see. You guys are in the way. Oh. What? 3 out of 3. Are you kidding me? Now, is there any chance the other side's going to go that well? Oh. Different sized nuts on this side. Oh, that one came off. Yes. Got it. Well, there it all is. It all came out pretty easy, in fact. No major dramas. So before I go any further, I'm going to give these manifolds a quick wire brush and get them in some acid. And hopefully the studs will come out more easily if I decide to do that. This is citric acid that I'm about to mix at a precise 10:1 ratio. No, I dumped whatever I had sitting on the shelf into a big container and then filled it with water. And if you want to know how this works, go and watch my vinegar video. Don't use vinegar though, use citric acid. It's better. Okay, so here's the plan. This whole downpipe situation is going away. This is where the catalytic converter was, same on the other side. And it's all just a bit of a mess. You can see the welding situation in some places is, well, you know, it got the job done, I guess. Anyway, as I said, this is all going away because I have brand new downpipes. These are the standard non-catalytic converter pipes, and the non-cat tunes didn't use O2 sensors, so we don't need to worry about that. Assuming all of this fits, don't need to do anything here. Let's get this out of the way. So the meat of this little project is going to be the tailpipe. Now the story goes that when I purchased the vehicle, it had a perfectly functional centre muffler in it. Between me agreeing to purchase it and picking it up, apparently it blew out. So the guy took it to the cheapest exhaust shop and got them to weld a piece of pipe in instead. Which, sure, fair enough. I looked around for original style mufflers, but where I live, none of the exhaust places carry mufflers in stock, and it was just a bit of a hassle. So instead I bought this cheap stainless steel muffler. It's 2.5 inch, perfect size, perfect offset. The only problem is, it's straight through. Hopefully it does enough. We'll see. Now the plan is, we're going to cut this off right here and weld this directly into here. Unfortunately, the last guys didn't give me much to play with. In fact, nothing. They cut it hard against this hook, but I think we can make that work. That way I don't have to mess around with a different flange or anything like that. Now at the other end, I'm going to cut this either here or here. I haven't decided yet. It depends which side I want this hook to be on, and install a flange, a bolt together flange. And actually, I'll just mark the pipe offset, just so I don't do anything really stupid. I think I can just get a good weld in through here. Any closer though, and I'll have to be welding up into this, which is probably not ideal. I made a plan. This is slightly complicated by the fact that I'm dealing with different diameters of pipe. They're all nominally 2.5 inch, but this, for example, is designed to slide over a 2.5 inch pipe, and this is considerably less than 2.5 inches for some reason. But this fat end is about perfect for the muffler. So I'm going to hack most of this off, and we'll deal with the hook situation later. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. I'll tack this flange on in the vehicle, just to account for any misalignment. But otherwise, I think I don't see any reason why anything would be a problem. So let's weld it up properly. Now, I managed to clean up and salvage this hook. It's slightly shorter than it was before, but I'm sure that's okay. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to hold it on here. Somehow. Well, that got really annoying, really super quickly. So instead of trying to clamp this, I've just got this bar here at approximately the right distance back, which I can just use as a rough guide, and I'll just hold this and zzz, and then adjust it with a hammer if necessary. Ah, pretty good. 1 millimeter out. How about level wise? It looks pretty good to me. I don't know why this original tip is so much smaller than the rest of the exhaust system. I'm replacing it with a 2.5-inch stainless bend, the same size as everything else. And I like the little downturn, so we'll keep that. Alright, let's go clean this up on the belt sander. This crusty old metal is going to result in a bit of a poopy weld, but you can see that the new pipe sleeves nicely over it. I did a sacrificial bead over the old metal first, and then a better weld over the top. And I think it'll be fine. A small leak at this point obviously wouldn't matter anyway. The next thing I'm going to do is potentially ruin my whole week. I have a bunch of new studs, and I'm going to attempt to get the old ones out. Now, I thought I had a stud removal tool, one of those dorky ones that goes on the side and you use your ratchet, but I can't find it. Possibly I don't have one. I haven't used it for a very long time if I do, and I have a feeling that something happened to it. Anyway, I can't find it, so we're using vice grips. So, to cut a long story short, I managed to get 3 of the old studs out. Oh yeah. 2 in one manifold and 1 in the other, including both bent ones, which was the main reason I wanted to change them. I decided to leave the other 3 before I went past the point of no return. This is a daily driver, not a restoration project, so I didn't feel the need to fight that battle just for fun. And here is everything, ready to go. You can see I painted the rear section. I used this Rust-Oleum paint, which is good for up to 2000 degrees of wishful thinking. But whatever, it looks tidy for now. Now, the pre-facelift Discoveries nearly all came with exhaust downpipes like this. However, mine being a Japanese vehicle, it was originally fitted with catalytic converters and O2 sensors. Of course, in '94 Land Rover gave the Discovery a facelift and entered it into the US market where cats and cup holders were compulsory, so they became standard from then on. Anyway, the point is that pre-facelift, 99% of V8s were catless, so for the sake of ease I've decided to convert mine to a more standard non-cat exhaust. I got these from paddock spares. They're OEM quality, whatever that means, apparently nothing because they're pretty rough. The worst part being that some idiot thought it was a good idea to wrap packaging tape all over them. If you've ever had to remove old packaging tape from something, you'll appreciate how annoying that is. Also, the laser cut flanges are razor sharp, the welds have whiskers sticking out of them, these slip fit connections are very loose, and the Y collector is not exactly the best I've seen, and if we're comparing them to the original parts, the flanges are about half as thick. But whatever, they're exhaust pipes. If they fit and don't leak, they're fine. And of course, new gaskets and hardware and plenty of exhaust cement. Okay, I think we're about ready to go. I'm going to start down this end. Buddy, you're going to have to relocate. Now, of course, I have all new hardware to use, but annoyingly, I can't use any of it because these are slightly too long. The problem is that Imperial size bolts aren't available in as many different lengths as they used to be. So instead of 1 1/8, the bolts I bought are 1 1/4, and they don't work. And I didn't feel like shortening 16 bolts. Anyway, I'm going to have to use the old ones, and in fact I suspect the reason some of these may have been a little loose is because they are also a bit too long without the locking strips, which weren't on here, and I'm not going to put them back on. So I will probably end up using an extra washer. I am using exhaust paste along with new gaskets. The manifolds are a little rough. If I ever rebuild this engine I'll get them resurfaced, but for now they'll be fine. And yes, you eagle-eyed Land Rover experts, this is the wrong side going in. Alright, so those are in, no problem. A bit of stuffing about, but that was my fault. Both sides, obviously. And next, the new downpipes, with new gaskets. The bonus of using paste is that the gaskets stick to stuff. And I didn't attempt to film attaching nuts from under the vehicle. The left-hand side is really easy. With a long extension, you have perfect clear access to all 3 nuts. The right-hand side is annoying because the diff's in the way and there's a heat shield around the junction which blocks your eyeballs. But even the hard side isn't too bad. And now the Y pipe, which should just slide into position. Okay, so that is all in. I couldn't use my nice clamps and ended up having to put some of these basic cheap ones on. My nice ones were just a smidge too large because all of these pipes are random sizes and they were just a little under 2 inches and the 2-inch clamp didn't work. I don't like these ones because they get snagged on everything. Also, the fitment of this pipe was predictably bad, and I would be amazed if we don't get leaks through these joins because these pipes are a lot bigger than the pipes that sleeve into them. It's sort of just the ends being squeezed down. But we'll see. Next, the muffler. And this is where the camera was turned off because everything went to shit. These don't fit. They're completely wrong. You can see how far out it is here. The end of the Y section is about at least 3 or 4 inches away from joining up. I think the vertical misalignment is in the pipes, but the horizontal misalignment is my fault. Apparently the non-cat downpipes and Y section don't finish in the same position as the catalytic converter version. My fault. It's not so much that I assumed that they would, it's more I ordered them anyway and figured that I'd figure it out if they didn't. Anyway, what am I going to do about it? Well, for now, I've refitted the old downpipes. I know that's a bit of a cop-out, but it's done. Sounds okay, and there are no leaks. But long term I would really like to get rid of these crusty hacked up pipes. The protective aluminium coating is long gone, so they're going to start growing holes sooner or later anyway. I think I'll end up modifying or remaking this Y pipe and then install these. Or perhaps these downpipes will fit into this Y pipe if I cut the welds loose. I haven't decided yet. But right now, it's time for a sound off. I know what you're thinking, it sounded better before. So firstly, yes, I don't think the idle volume has come down much at all. And you might also be thinking that it's lost some of its nice V8 bark. But here's the thing, sitting in my driveway, revving the engine, isn't a good example of the real experience. Before, anytime the engine was under load, so driving up a hill or pulling away from intersections, this raspy bark was constant. And that's gone. Now under load it sounds way better, like a normal V8. I would personally like it to be even more quiet than it is, but it's fine. And inside the vehicle, the dominant noise is all coming from the front of the engine now. Noisy belts, worn out pulleys, slightly concerning ticks. But you still hear the V8 when you put your foot in it. So I would call this a successful mission. It did, however, cost me my lord.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
And I will have to circle back and address the front section sometime. But overall, a success. Wait, there's one more thing. I'm looking to buy a 2.25 litre engine, or possibly an earlier Series 1 engine. If any of you in this sort of area have one that you'd like to sell, please send me an email. I'm looking for an engine for the sake of rebuilding it, so not necessarily a drop-in ready-to-go runner, more like something that's been forgotten under a workbench. Okay, that's it. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time.